Mr. Moskowitz, where are we in the impeachment investigation? They started this 11 months ago.
Is that still going on?
That's the point.
It's going great for Comer. I mean, everything I read, it's just going so well for him. He should just keep doing what you're doing, James. It's going great.
So since that MAGA-driven investigation has failed, both at impeaching Biden and fooling Americans into believing that the president is as big of a criminal as Trump is, Republicans are switching from advocating for Hunter's downfall to hoping he's acquitted in his criminal trial.
Let's also see how the Hunter Biden trial plays out. Great piece in the Post saying this is essentially they're being tried, and Hunter is being tried in Bidentown. And if they feel sorry for him and they let him go, it's just going to highlight that two-tiered justice system that ultimately shows that the courts may play favorites, they may protect or they may persecute depending on the party.
I guess the only points I would make is that you cannot live in Delaware and not be aware of the Biden name.
Right.
Yeah. It was a U.S. senator at the age of 29. And they do have several jurors on there who have said that they have members of their family who are addicts or have been addicts.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Not quite sure how that plays.
How it plays out.
It's weird how politics can make an entire political movement go from wanting to get and expose Hunter Biden at every turn to damn near rooting for him to be acquitted just so they can claim judicial bias. Delaware is Biden country, they said. The jury has people that have addicts in their families. All this to promote their pitch that the judicial system, as biased against rich, powerful, white Republican men, is valid. They need it, even if it doesn't fit with reality. So Delaware is Biden land, just like New York is Trump world, when Republicans need it to be. Janine Pirro even suggested that Trump made New York what it is.
You know, my question for Robert De Niro is, what have you done for New York City, Robert De Niro? What have you done? Is there a building with your name on it? Have you built skyscrapers? Has the skyline of New York changed because of all of your vision? No.
And how dare they seat jurors that have family members that were addicts? Of course, they're suggesting that they'll be biased and feel extra sympathy for Hunter's addiction. They also did forget to mention that Donald Trump doesn't drink alcohol because his brother was an alcoholic, which contributed to his passing.
I had a brother, Fred, great guy, best looking guy, best personality, much better than mine. But he had a problem. He had a problem with alcohol. And he would tell me, don't drink, don't drink. He was substantially older, and I listened to him and I respected, but he would constantly tell me, don't drink. He'd also add, don't smoke. But he would say it over and over and over again. And to this day, I've never had a drink. And I have no longing for it. I have no interest in it. To this day, I've never had a cigarette. And he had a very, very, very tough life because of alcohol, believe me. Very, very tough, tough life. He was a strong guy, but it was a tough, tough thing that he was going through. But I learned because of Fred. I learned.
So does Trump's affinity for his brother mean that he would automatically feel sympathy for Hunter's addiction so much that he let him off the hook? You know, these guys pick and choose whatever they want to paint a picture to match the conspiracy theory that MAGA has come up with. In their world, the members of every jury are the only ones that can be biased over their proximity to addicts. Having one in the family is only shameful if Republicans hate you.
And look at Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was never told no. He was never given any consequence. And look at him. He's like 54 and he's an absolute mess.
There's just too many hypocritical things to break down here. Jesse Waters defends a former president nearly every day that's never been told no and is dealing with consequences for the first time ever. And now he's a mess, vowing to go on a fascist revenge tour and threatening to sick his violent mob on the country just because he lost an election and got busted for breaking federal law. But according to Jesse, the depravity of a jury that they're hoping will acquit Hunter is even worse. Did you know that there are black people on it?
It's called jury nullification. It's when you pick a jury that will give you a not guilty verdict. They know you're guilty, but they just disagree with the law. The strategy plays on the racial makeup of the jury, which is mostly black, as well as the Biden's influence in Delaware. The hope is this jury won't convict for a drug-related crime. Everybody in Delaware knows the Bidens. That's why Jill and Ashley are sitting front row. But that's not all. The Biden family brought Mouse to court. Mouse is a Delaware legend. Joe Biden was the best man at his wedding. Mouse runs Delaware's NAACP and has been involved in the community for decades. They want every black juror to see Mouse sitting with the Bidens. If you can get the jury on your side, all of a sudden, this case is not a slam dunk.
These guys aren't ashamed that their generalizations about an entire race of people is on full display. Next, they'll talk about how black people shouldn't be allowed to serve on juries because Waters thinks that they're unable to fairly analyze evidence. Irony alert, though. Our two-tier justice system that has historically jailed and killed countless black Americans in this country were made up of bigoted white men that didn't need to see or hear any evidence to convict their targets. Many times, they saw evidence that actually would free them, but they found them guilty instead. I remember someone that famously did that.
Will you apologize to Central Park 5? They've been exonerated. There have been videos and movies shown about the case, and you came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die, that they should have the death penalty.
Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up. You have people on both sides of that. They admitted their guilt. If you look at Linda Fairstein and if you look at some of the prosecutors, they think that the city should never have settled that case. So we'll leave it at that.
Here's some more of that nonsense.
In addition to that, you know, you've got Jill Biden at the trial, but she wasn't just at the trial. She was at the selection of the jury. And I can't help but think that she was there trying to send a message. I'm here. She's got her arms around the family members there. You know, we're the Bidens. This is Delaware. So on the one hand, you've got the sympathetic jury who have experienced the devastation of drugs and alcohol addiction. And then you've got kind of the mob mentality. We know who you are. We're in the courtroom and we're watching you.
The president spent the entire weekend with his son. Michael Goodwin in the New York Post is observing that maybe there's some intimidation tactics going on here by the Biden family. He writes this: Joe Biden making a cynical power play aimed at keeping son Hunter out of prison, him in the White House. The president used the photo ops to make sure the world and potential jurors saw his loyalty. This was a mafia-like message. Screw with my son, and you screw with me.
It sounds like this is something that has kind of been, they've continued throughout their political careers that, we are the Bidens, you're not going to screw with us. And it's right out there in open view. I mean, it is verbal and it is nonverbal.
Jill Biden and other members of Hunter's family showing up to his court proceedings is now considered mob behavior for the spin doctors that probably can't keep their story straight anymore. You know what would be easier than trying to create another new reality around all of this? Admit that your guy broke the law over and over and over again, instead of this propaganda effort to claim that the judicial system, from top to bottom, somehow coordinated this huge effort to take his innocent ass out. All of these conspiracies that are pieced together are somehow the truth, rather than the fact that evidence keeps proving that Trump has a total disregard for the law. But they can't. Their only play is to flip reality on its head.
Are you weaponizing the House the same way you say Democrats were weaponizing the DOJ to get what they wanted? Are you just doing it in a bigger platform, the entire House of Representatives?
No, there is a very clear distinction between what we are doing and what they have done in weaponizing the judicial system. They're undermining the people's faith in our institutions, our system of justice itself. What we're doing, Neil, is the opposite. We are trying to adhere to the rule of law. We are trying to use the authority and the responsibility that we have in Congress to ensure that people can trust our justice system. It's absolutely essential to maintain a constitutional republic, and they are undermining the public's faith in that. We are here to hold the line and say, no, the rule of law has to be adhered to, and we can't have rogue prosecutors using our courts for political vendettas, and that's exactly what they're doing to Donald Trump.